It's time for bookkeeping, beer, and BS.
I think the other part that I've realized with admin staff versus like your people that are out producing revenue is that's like a key difference in the business, right? Like somebody who's producing revenue, if you're doing it right, is producing enough revenue to cover what they get paid.
Mm-hmm.
So they're covering that, plus they're generating all that contribution margin to help pay bills, and hopefully there's a little bit of profit. Whereas admin staff, they do, but it's hard to calculate that as easily as it is with like a technician who produces 1,000, and for us we have 55% margin on that. So there's 55% of contribution margin to kind of go towards bills.
Yeah.
With admin, it's a little bit different, and so what I've run into is admin looking at like payroll or looking at bonuses or guys earning incentives, and then feeling like, well, I'm crushing it, like
yeah. I touched all of their revenue before they ever got to produce it.
I'm crushing it, I'm knocking this out. And it's like, well, yeah, but they are producing this revenue that covers their incentives. Like if I pay him an extra $100 and he goes out and produces 500 because of that extra 100 to go work on a weekend, it's what we wouldn't have had that.
Yeah.
Whereas the admin activity has to get done, and it definitely is valuable to the business, but it's just different. And so I've had to have that conversation, and it was good because you can alleviate those feelings of like, well, feeling like, well, I'm doing a good job. How do I get rewarded? And then I had another conversation. That's kind of what made me think about this. Was at the last BBB, my $10,000 idea was to show people where their productivity in a business lies in a P&L, right? And if you hire somebody, that P&L should look more productive every time you make a hire. And if it's not, then it's usually going, you're either something's wrong.
Yeah, sinking your ship.
So I had that conversation, and then that affected our P&L in a hugely positive way, because the person took it and said, all right, cool. I understand that this is the activity that I need to get done, but it doesn't generate revenue. And then this is the activity that affects the bottom line. And so they were able to manage both and then crush it and make us way more profitable the last 4 months.
Yeah. So to your point, it's definitely hard to like figure out. And Josh Taylor chimed in. He said profit sharing. Nick Thurston said incentives to do their job better. Very easy to incentivize the technicians, because if you're paying commission, and I love Rob's way of doing it, like, I'm paying you commission already. You're already incentivized to go do more. But if you do more of more, then you even get a little bit more. And if you do more of the more, then you get a little bit more of the more. And we have a similar thing with home cleaning, where now we have like if they produce over $1,000 in a week home cleaning, they jump up a little bit in commission. If they produce $1,300, they jump up a little bit more in their commission rate across everything. So very similar concept. And Gabe, to your point, when we're looking at admin staff, one of the things we found is, technicians can be responsible for their own revenue, but they can't generally be responsible for everybody else's. Whereas our office manager is generally responsible for all of the revenue, because she's going to book most of it over the phone, or at least book the estimate. And if things aren't going right, it's her job to try to get us paid and reduce the level of the discount we have to give, or make sure a guy goes back out and takes care of it. She's got to protect all of the revenue. And so we tied her incentive. Now, she also has the clutch of it's totally dependent on if we have the capacity for her to fill up that schedule, but she gets incentivized on the total revenue. And so we have revenue targets and budgets for her to hit. And the thing that we kind of missed on was we didn't have productivity pieces to it, because there's so many things that influence it. So I want to find ways to tie her incentive to live answer rate, or how long customer service things stay unhandled, or whatever, how many jobs she books or something like that. So there's an activity tied to it, just like you said, Gabe, where technicians have that activity tied to it. A little trickier with admin people to help them see the benefit of and the value of their activity. Whereas technicians, it's I run this squeak, it brings in these dollars. Salesperson can answer the phone and it brings in these dollars, but it takes so much more and so much longer to get it built up. But I love that.